We, at one point, come around the corner, and that's our first view of the peak.
The first time that we saw Kilimanjaro, I remember looking at it and thinking, I'm not going to be able to climb that. It's huge, it stands alone, there's no other mountains around, it's covered with snow.
I was very impressed, and I guess I must have been asking myself, all right, are we really going to be able to do this?
Kilimanjaro is the highest mountain in the world that you can climb without being what's called a technical climber. Once we had the hip surgery, it became a much cooler thing to do. The idea of two brothers who had artificial hips at our age climbing this high mountain, and the highest point in Africa, seemed like a pretty neat thing to do.
I don't think I would have enjoyed or even done the Kilimanjaro climb when I was 30 years old. In some sense, it's, you know, a 30-year-old can do that. It's the fact that I am 65 and had the hip replacement that made me think, yeah, this is a real challenge. First day was really quite muddy, probably because we were still in the rainforest area.
The second day was a very long day, and it's a lot of up and down.
As they said, we're going to be going up and down because you're trying to acclimatize yourself to the thin air.
Kilimanjaro is in the background, which is pretty amazing. It is a spectacular sight, and we plan to get there in 5 days. The third day was, I remember it was a very long day, and it's much rockier, and the actual walking itself is much tougher than I thought it was going to be. Then the fourth day was when it got really interesting. You head down into this valley, and it was the first place where I encountered ice. It's the first time for me on the trip where you think, you know what, if I take a wrong step, it could be all over. So, I know I look ridiculous, but better to be ridiculous than freezing cold. The hip is really holding up well. Every step you are putting pressure on it, and I haven't had any problems at all. So we'll see how today goes and report back to you.
The next day you go up the Barranco wall. There were times when I might have said, gee, throw me a rope. There were no ropes. It was pretty exhausting.
So it's the end of day 5. Hopefully you can see Kilimanjaro in the background. We are at about 13,500 feet, and we still have almost 6,000 feet to go in less than 2 days. I'm not sure how we're going to do it. It is certainly a difficult trek.
So what happens is you get into the last camp. And at that point, they give you a meal and they say, all right, go sleep. We're going to wake you up at 11 o'clock. I guess we pushed off about midnight.
And I'm not too proud to admit, I was terrified. I kept on hoping that the guides actually knew where they were going, which they did. We're 6 hours into the hike to the summit. I don't know how close we are, but it is cold. Our guides are not tired, which is amazing.
Well done, guys.
These guys are not tired, they're not cold. We, however, are. We'll shoot more when we get to whatever our next stopping point is. Goodbye. That first 6.5 hours in darkness, I mean, I was just, you know, thinking, I don't know if we're going to make it. I don't know if we're going to find the way up.
Each step was just very difficult.
Once the sun does come up and once you begin to see where the actual peak is, I don't think there's anything that could have stopped us. When we reached the summit, the feeling was this is a huge accomplishment. This is something half the people who set out to do it don't make it, and a lot of those people are younger than we are, and they don't have new hips like we do. And it's a feeling of I can pretty much do anything I put my mind to.
Getting to the top is exhilarating. There's this fluffy white and then a nice crisp horizon and then deep blue sky. Just a beautiful sight.
The new hip and what it's allowed me to do has really renewed my faith in the future and what I'm going to be able to do for the next 20, 30 years as long as I'm able to live.
Look, this hip has really changed my life. Prior to having the replacement done, I was heading towards being an old guy. Getting this put in and having it work so well meant that I could start moving in a very different direction. I could start hiking again, I could start biking, I could start playing tennis.
The sense of limitation that maybe I had before the hip surgery isn't there anymore. And it's just this feeling of unlimited possibilities, and it's a great feeling.